And we are live. Hello, everybody, to the third episode of the Trove Design Podcast. Hopefully, you were able to catch the first two episodes. Please go watch those and learn a little bit more about us and our background. Today, we're going to be talking about your comments and answering them, the ones that you've left in previous YouTube videos. If you have a comment or a question that you want us to answer in a future video, please put those comments down below in the comment section, and we will look at those and answer them in future videos. So I'm Charlie Briggs, and this is my co-host, Andres Ramirez. As you can tell, I'm still getting into the groove of this introduction thing, so please bear with us. It's been a day of technical difficulties and everything. And so I think we should just hop into the question before anything else goes wrong. So Andres, could you please post the first question? Awesome. So, do you want to go ahead and read it out for us?
Yeah, thank you. And amazing intro, by the way. I really liked your style. So this comes from a comment in the previous YouTube video. Is really enjoyed this episode, getting to know you two better and the value you brought through your answers. I'd love to hear if either of you had a mentor, either a general life mentor or design related, and if you had advice on how someone would go about finding one. ! From Emily V.
This is a great question. Mentors are super important. Andres, I don't know if you have a few mentors, or if you have just one mentor. I think that would be the first thing to answer.
Ooh, I would say I've had many mentors. Some have come and gone, and some that I don't really even say that they're my mentors. I just kind of ask them things, and they're like indirectly my mentors, if that's going to sound sneaky. But what I'm trying to say is that, even Charlie could be my mentor. Like, he's taught me so much. And there is a lot that I've learned from him in terms of communication, understanding how Nebraskans live their lives, and like little things like that, understanding where he's from. So it's really cool. And it's just broadening my network of people that I know. And also, if I need help, Charles is always there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. I thank you for saying that first and foremost off the bat. But yeah, I think I've also, mentors kind of come and go as your life cycles kind of ebb and flow. And I know that for me, there's been a lot of those mentors where it's, more of a chill environment where you guys, maybe you're just friends, and it kind of blooms into some form of mentorship. You're learning from each other, or one's learning from the other. And then there's been other mentors that I've had where it's been pretty dedicated, of just, maybe they're a manager at a job and they're mentoring me through that, or it's something in my personal life situation and I go to somebody and ask them, hey, can you mentor me? And I think the key with that is it puts a little bit of weight behind the mentorship, and actually helps you develop, I think, a little bit quicker, rather than just some of those like friendship mentors, where maybe you're not actually progressing towards an end goal, or trying to learn as much. I don't know. Andres, have you had any experience with like asking someone to be a mentor to help you actually gain, get better or grow towards a certain goal in your life?
Oh my goodness. So I've definitely been rejected with mentorship, or been ghosted. So that's going to happen. So for anyone out there that's a bit younger than us, I would say from the ages of 18, or even younger than 18, but 18 to like 22, let's say, that when you're out there trying to get mentorship, people are probably going to say no to you. There's going to be some people that are going to say yes, and they might flake out, or they're just way too busy. And I think that's okay. I think that will give you some ideas of what some of the red flags and green flags are, and then be able to pursue them. And if you can keep them accountable, if they're a person that is like, I need you to be the person to initiate all of the interactions, you might have to watch out for that too, because some people are so busy, they're waiting for you to invite them. And then you get the other people where it's like, I'm going to put it on your schedule and your calendar, and we're just going to meet every single time that we have scheduled out. And then that's that. So, but there's other places you can go to. Like, for an example, here in Canada, Charlie, is that we have RGD, which is Registered Graphic Designers, and you can apply for getting a mentor for you. And then there's other places. No, this is a shameless plug, Charles, but you can go to places like the Future Pro Group and then ask for mentorship in there. We do have this thing called PPP, which is Peak Performance Partner, and they help you keep you accountable. But accountability and mentorship are so different that you kind of need both in a way. So mentor will is like a kind of like a check-in, ask questions, and then an accountability partner is more like, I have these goals, let's meet every week or every 2 weeks and make sure that I'm on track. So there's two different things. So for an example, you can have a mentor for your business, freelance business, or mentorship for your career. There's a lot, I would say, in summary, is to really define what your goal is with the mentorship, and then be able to somewhat pitch it to that person, or go to an organization and see if you can find one that's a good fit. So those would be my really quick answers there, Charles.
Yeah, and no, I mean, shameless plugs. I love it. Future Pro Group is actually how Andres and I met. I don't know if we discussed that in the previous episode 2, where we kind of went more into our backgrounds, but yeah, that's actually how we met, is through that Future Pro Group, which has a mentorship part to it. My next question, or kind of comment on this topic, though, is what are your thoughts around mentorship as kind of a two-way street? I think a lot of people approach mentors as almost like a book, like where they're, okay, I'm going to come and I'm only going to receive, and it can be very one-sided, especially for a mentor, and can actually deter mentors from wanting to be your mentor if you are just coming and not actually maybe adding something to the relationship. So maybe we could brainstorm, what are some ways where, if you wanted somebody to be your mentor, you could ask them in a way that you're also giving back to them, or helping them out in some way.
I think that's an excellent point. It reminds me of what Chris says sometimes, is that when you teach when you teach, one person teaches, but two people learn. So I think if there is things that you are excited about, or want to, like you said, brainstorm, or even in a way just talk about ideas or something that you learned in the previous week or the month, or however often that you meet up, I think that's a great opportunity to share that knowledge, and from different perspectives, especially if it's from different age ranges. So someone that's growing up right now, that's 18 to 22 years old, the world is so different from when we were 18 to 20 years old. So there might be some things that they're learning so quickly, and it might be so intuitive that for someone that's a little bit older, maybe in their 40s or something like that, that they know nothing about. So one of the things like that's huge right now is like the Web3, so NFTs. Like all the younger people, they seem to get it really fast, and they know what to do and where to go, and they can keep up to date with that kind of stuff. And then with some people that are a little bit older, they're not really into crypto and all that kind of stuff. And so there might be a symbiotic relationship where, like, hey, I can teach you about NFTs, how to make TikToks or Reels or Instagram, what's really popping off in some of the trendings, that things that I know, and then you can be able to have an exchange there. And then vice versa, it's where the older, potentially, not, maybe it doesn't even have to be like so much older, but maybe just a little bit, like 5 years is a lot of life years experience. For example, when they were 15, you would have been 10 years old. So there is a lot of experience that can be um, extracted from those years of experiences. So that's the way I look at it. Again, it would have to be clear on what kind of relationship you want it to be. Is it going to be strictly business? Is it going to be content strategy, or whatever it is? So that's my quick answer there.
Definitely. Yeah, I think I really liked your approach where you're talking around, okay, maybe it is, if there is an age gap or an age difference between mentor and mentee, that we can learn different things. Obviously, you're gaining life experience if you're the mentee and you're a little younger, from the mentor's life experience. But then, kind of, yeah, the opposite way. I think when you're younger, you're definitely up on the trends a little bit more, and the fast paced world. So you can kind of help be almost like a news feed to the mentor in some way, but helping just get through some of those thoughts a little bit quicker. Because I know for me at least, like the longer you're in a job, like the larger just gets really hard to keep up with all the new stuff for sure. And I wouldn't say I'm super old, but yeah. Okay. So the next question I had would be around: do you have specific like work mentors and non-work mentors, or kind of getting back to this question of either a general life mentor or design related?
Yeah, I love this question because I think that sometimes mentors can appear to you and not say that they're mentors. So, for an example, my significant other, she's really into emotional intelligence. Like she's really in tune into her emotions, and she can really read the room. She's a really good vibe checker, is what I'm trying to say. And for me, that doesn't always click very well. So I'm a type of person that is more I would say logical and analytical. I'd have to look at numbers and make analysis and stuff like that. Like I will geek out on that kind of stuff to make sure that I'm making a good decision is what I'm trying to say. And where she comes in is that I can't often tell the emotions of people. It's always so hard for me to read it. And she'll let me know like this is what they actually meant, but this is what they said. And I'm like, oh, what they said I thought was literal. And then she'll explain to me you had to read between the lines, but if you couldn't pick up on that type of language, you would have never known. And I'm like, oh yeah, see, that's where I fail at. So for me, my significant other is my biggest mentor in communication. And when it comes to other things, so for an example, my best friend's dad, he owns and runs his businesses. So he's been teaching me business things for a while now, like how to hire people, how to even fire people, how to make sure that you hire people you can trust, things like that. So he's taught me that kind of stuff at a younger age because he would love to teach us about what he does on a daily basis. So those would be my two quick people that I can think of off the top of my head. But I'd love to turn this question back to you. Do you have any mentors that are more like general life, or maybe you do have a mentor that is not you would say is a mentor but does mentor you?
Yeah, I think I really like to think about this in a kind of a lens of like a generalist versus a specialist mentor. And so for like work related mentorship, I've definitely had mentors in the past that are very specific to design or design process, even around just like, okay, how are we going to go through that? What can we make better in this process? What can I learn around the job that I'm doing? But then I've also had life mentors, particularly through my church. I'm religious, and so I've had some mentors there where it's more of just like, general being a good person, and okay, how can I be a professional as well as a good significant other and a good just individual in society, right? So when I look at it, it's really just you have to know kind of what you're working towards with mentorship. Sometimes I would say sometimes it can be accidental, but usually for me, the thing that I've gotten most out of a mentorship is when I actually put in, okay, here's my goal for this relationship. And that could just be to have a relationship, but especially in more mentorship, there's usually a little bit of a, goal oriented mindset to it. So whether that's a business mentor who's helping you learn business attributes, right? So that you can then go and apply them to your business, or if it's a generalist aspect where you're trying to grow as a better person, so that you can help society a little bit more, or even just better yourself, right? Then I would say that is something where I'm getting it from, more of that generalist mindset, somebody else in my life.
That makes complete sense, and that's a really good answer. Um, so would you say that you've had many mentors in your lifetime, or
Yeah. I mean, depends on how many you say is many. I would say I've had probably around somewhere in between like 5 and 10. And I think like I could think of 5 that are very specific. You think back in your years, and there's people that stand out, right, in terms of how they helped you through scenarios. But then there's also those other ones where maybe it wasn't a uh, like as big of a mentorship, but it was kind of an undercurrent. Whether that's a peer that you worked with or someone else, and you're getting those little bits of advice from them as you go, but it's not as formal as like your manager or something else getting that information. So if 5 to 10 is many, then I've had many. If it's if it's not, then I haven't. What about
Yeah,
you?
yeah, I would say you've had many, and I think my answer is always going to be a little bit weird because I find that a lot of people that I've encountered can be my mentors, and sometimes it's very temporary. So, for an example, I've been into music quite a bit my whole life, and I've always thought that in a different lifetime I would be a musician, and I had roommates that would teach me how to play guitar properly. So I was self-taught from a very young age, and they would come in and show me like this is how you actually hold the chords, so that way you can hop around different chords. And I was holding chords in a very odd way or playing it in a very odd way because of self-taught. So no one had come in and corrected me, and so they would, and that would be amazing because then I would be like, "Oh, okay, there is a better, more ergonomic or efficient way to play the guitar than I was originally playing." So I would say I can't count all the mentors. In a weird way, I want to say all my friends are mentors because they've all taught me what to do and sometimes what not to do in certain situations. So that's always been great learning
Oh, I think I lost you, Andres, for a second.
experiences with all. Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, you froze out for a second. Again, sorry to any of the viewers. We've been having some technical difficulties this morning, but I just wanted to hit back on that key point that you said, Andres, around um, your mentors. I really like the guitar analogy. I'm also a guitarist, and so it really is like you were able to do the thing on your own. You were able to learn those chords, but the mentor really helped you kind of make that process more efficient, or just gave you that life experience of saying, "Hey, you can get better a little quicker if you do it this way, and you change it in that way."
Exactly. And then to relate it into career, I've also seen this also in my circles too, where I've met a senior level designer, creative director, or agency owner, and I'll ask them like if I'm just entering the field and I've encountered these situations where um, I didn't get a brief or something like that. Like how do I handle that more? And they were telling me that that's it's part of the process, it's part of the learning, and then you should start learning how to actually curate your own briefs or make sure that you know how to document a brief and ask the right questions to the right people, because I think designers or people that look at design is that it's the final equation of what they need, so it's the result, and they don't understand that there might be some more clarifying questions that you need, like who is this for, why are we doing this, all those kind of design thinking type of questions, and then you're able to really make it an outline and say, okay, this is going to be the goal, and this is a target market, and this is how long it's going to take. What do you think about that? And then you have a conversation and go about, okay, maybe we have to trade off this, we have to trade off that, maybe we actually have to pause this project, so it looks like it's going to take several months and we didn't expect that. So I think that's something that I learned from my design mentors, career mentors, if you want to say something like that. But we're nearing the end of this episode here, Charles, and I was wondering if you had any final thoughts, and I think we can close out the talk here.
Yeah, I really wanted to answer kind of that last part of the question around like how do you find a mentor, right? So maybe you're just coming out of university, or you're in university, you're trying to find your first career mentor, or just generalist type mentor, and maybe we can think of a couple tips there. I would say obviously look at somebody who might be, if you can see out your future, and in 3 years maybe this person is at the position or at the level that you want to be with a specific trait, whether that's design, specific and career specific, or maybe you just want to be a really good guitarist at some point. And so you seek out somebody who's kind of at that level. And it doesn't have to be somebody who's been doing it for 30, 40 years. It can be someone who's just a year or two ahead of you, and really looking at kind of those steps. So I think my advice for somebody who is looking for their first mentor is to listen to a lot of different people. Obviously, you have to kind of get to know the person before you approach them in any sort of mentor relationship. And then see where they're at, see if that is matching kind of where you're looking for, and just approach it. You can either see, get a mentorship from afar and watch their YouTube videos, or watch how they conduct themselves in business meetings or different areas of that, or even in design sprints, design brainstorm sessions. Or you could actually approach them and say, hey, I really like how you're doing this. Would you be willing to mentor me, once a week or once a month on how I could grow in this skill set or in this capacity, whether that's at a job again, or in just a personal life. Maybe you want to get better at meditation. And so you approach somebody who meditates consistently, and you want to figure out, okay, how can I integrate this into my life a little bit better? What were some tips and tricks that you have? Andres, do you have any advice for anyone who maybe is getting their first mentor on how they should approach that?
I don't think I can add much to what you said. And just to echo that last one of the parts that you said is to really do your due diligence on the person, do your research, and understand where their life journey has gotten to where they are today, and where you see you could be a good fit as well in that journey. I think that's important, so that way there is, there's a lot of synergy there. I know a lot of people don't like the word synergy, but or symbiotic type of relationship. So there's a give and take. I think that's the best part of mentorship relationship when that happens. And then you never know later down the road where they will present you with opportunities. You're like, hey, you know what? I think you're ready. We have this client we can't take, or whether it's maybe it's a job opportunity or something like that. It doesn't have to be freelance or business related. And they can say, I thought of you instantly because I've seen your growth. I see that you're now, a well thought out designer in this case, and I think you can handle this client. They're looking to spend 20K. We just can't take them because that's too little money for us now at our agency. And yeah, go for it. So I think that's the beautiful thing when stuff like that can happen. Or it's just an introduction, like, hey, I met this person at this conference networking, and they like the style that you do. So maybe you should reach out to them. And then you never know where that can happen and go. So that'd be my final answer. So Charles, any last thoughts before we hit stop on this recording?
Yeah, I think just last thoughts. First of all, I wanted to say that I think that's a great answer, Andres. And thank you for adding that information in. And I would just put it out to the people who are watching this video right now, our viewers. I'd love to hear back from you, or we'd love to hear back from you on, do you have multiple mentors? Are they in different aspects of your life? And how does that work with your mentorship journey? Have you mentored somebody else as well because you've had a mentor? So please leave a comment in the comment section down below. And if you have any questions on design that you would like us to hear, again, I'm a product designer. Andres does graphics, logos, anything web design is really what I understand. And so if you have any questions around that, just please put them in the comments below, and we can answer them in future episodes similar to this one. And we'd love to just continue to hear from you all. But with that, I believe that is this episode. So thank you for listening and watching and bearing with us through some of the technical difficulties. Please, comment your thoughts below. Okay. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.